Okay guys, this is lesson 1.3 where we are going to use properties of operations to solve problems. So this is our mental math problem. This is our lesson. This is the lesson where we kind of ask, why are we doing this stuff? But these things are to help us for mental math in the future. So if you understand these things, they'll help you for problems down the road that we're going to do, especially bigger problems where you don't have to rewrite everything down on paper. Okay, so again, this is a big mental math problem, or lesson. So we're going to focus on these four properties. We have the commutative property, and remember the commutative property of addition and it's of multiplication. They're the exact same thing. It doesn't matter if you're 12 plus 7 or 12 times 7, and then 7 plus 12 or 7 times 12. If you flip the numbers, it's the same thing. 12 plus 7 is 19. 7 plus 12 is 19. It's the same thing. If you had 12 times 7 would be 84. 7 times 12 would be 84. It's the same thing. So commutative, remember you commute, people commute to get back and forth to work. So it doesn't matter if they commute from home to work or work to home, it's the same distance to get back and forth. So commutative, they flip-flop. Flip-flop the numbers, it's the same thing. Okay, associative. There's the associative property of addition and the associative property of multiplication. So if you have the associative property of addition, we can associate different numbers together and it'll still have the same answer. So remember, these have to do with the parentheses. So if you have 5 plus 8 plus 14, you can mix things around and you can take this 5 and you could substitute it for the 14 and add the 5 plus the 8 first and then add the 14. Or you could flip it the other way. You could do 14 plus 5 and then add the 8. It's up to you. Same with multiplication. If you want to switch and put the 5 in here and put the 8 out here, or if you want to put the 5 in and the 14 out, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same answer. So the reason we do this is if we see an easier problem to do. So let's say this was 6 plus 8 plus 14. Think, what would be easier to add together first? The 6 and the 8? The 8 and the 14, or the 6 and the 14? Well, the 6 and the 14, right? Because it gets you to the nearest 10. It gets you to 20. We always want to get to what is easy, the nearest 10. So then that way you could do the 6 and the 14 first, because we do everything inside of the parentheses first, and then you could add the 8. So associative property just means that you can group numbers together differently and it'll still have the same answer, as long as all the signs are the same. So they're all either plus signs or they're all multiplication signs. Okay? Now we have the identity property. We talked about identity is who you are. So identity property of addition, 13, if we want to keep its identity the same, to do that we just have to add 0. So 13 plus 0, you're always going to get 13. Any number plus 0, it'll stay the same. With multiplication, to keep the number the same, we have to multiply it by 1. Any number times 1 stays the same. So that is the identity property. Okay, and then the trickiest one is the distributive property. The distributive property is like the mailman. They distribute mail. So the distributive property just shows you that you're going to get the same answer if you did this. So we have 5 times 7 plus 9. So if you just did this problem, 5 times 7 plus 9, you'd have 7 plus 9 is 16. And if you times it by 5, you'd get 80. But if you wanted to, you could multiply 5 times 7 and then 5 times 9. You distribute. So you could go 5 times 7 and you would get, I'm going to split this, you'd get 35, and then 5 times 9 is 45, and you still get 80. It doesn't matter. So the reason we use this one is our chunking to make big multiplication problems easier. Sometimes we might get something like 7 times 13. If you ask me what it is, it's a hard problem. So instead of just trying to do it like it is, I'm going to split it up. Use mental math to split it up. And I'm thinking I want to split this 13 up to make it really easy. So I'm going to use the distributive property. Well, anything times 10 is easy. So I'm always trying to get to 10. So I'm going to take the 7, I'm going to multiply it by 10. And then I'm going to do the 7 times by 3. It's the same problem, the exact same problem. It just made it easy. Now in my head I'm like, oh, 7 times 10 is 70, that's easy. Got it. 7 times 3 is 21. Together, it's 91. It just makes the problem easier for you. So big multiplication problems are easier if you distribute, are chunking. If you distribute the second number here, the bigger number, and then multiply. So let me do it one more time. If you had 8 times 24, that's a hard problem, but not if we use the distributive property. We can do 8 times 20, and then we can add that to 8 times 4. Well, 8 times 2 is 16, then add the 0, plus 8 times 4 is 32. Add them together, we get 192. All right, here are your bonus extra credit questions. I just want you to fill in the blanks. So fill in the blank and name the property. So what number would go here? And what property is it? And then what number would go here? And what property is it?